How is AI changing SEO? Well, first and foremost, if we're talking from the lens of Google, the most important thing to consider right now is the search generative experience, also known as SGE. And this is the AI overview answer that I'm sure you see now when you ask Google a question. And generally this gets triggered when you ask a long tail keyword phrased as a search query, which is just a bunch of jargon for saying you basically ask Google a question like a friend. And you'll notice this, like for example, if you type lawyer or lawyer near me, you're going to get a more traditional search experience. But if you ask something like, who's the best lawyer near me? Or this happened and I need to do this, well, now you're going to get that conversational answer that generates. And this is the new game. Google is moving away from the list of links. But now, type in a question, ask it something hyper-specific, a little bit longer, and you're going to see an AI overview that populates up and answers conversationally. And you might notice that within that overview, there's something called featured snippets. So the new game, how can you take as much real estate as possible winning search generative experience, SGE, panels? And these panels, they're pulled from web pages, blogs, and videos. Something we focused on while we're building out websites is intent-based mapping to the site. And when you map things to intent, you can start winning these panels. When you pair that with video, you start winning more of the real estate. So that's the game right now, and I would encourage you to start thinking about, how can I be the answer? How can I train Google's AI to use me as the answer? And pretty soon we're going to see paid advertising also migrate into this. But right now, everybody is chasing tactics. So the key thing that I'm seeing that's playing out is most of the big agencies and the big businesses, they're so focused on what worked and what was working for what I could only call an infant version of the Google algorithm. This new AI system that Google is using, it's evaluating like a person. And I did just do a video about how AI basically makes SEO a character assessment now. So when you think about that, long game really matters far more than the short game. So you need to start thinking about, how can I serve my customers? How can I show Google that I'm serving my customers? And how can I structure my website and my online presence in a way that demonstrates my real expertise, my real character? And if you can do those things over time, you're going to start winning those panels. So one thing that we've been doing is we focus on intent over keywords. And I'm really big on this. Yes, it's important to match a page to certain specific keywords, but a smarter play is to match pages and blogs to questions that people have. So if you can help your customers over time, and if you can go deeper than everybody, be more helpful, and more honest and accurate, you're going to start winning those panels. Now, another big one on the inverse here is a lot of people are using AI to create content. And it's not that you can't use AI, but if you're using AI for speed and not putting real, original ideas and thought into the content, you're going to lose, because Google, they don't want a copy of a copy of a copy. And likewise, the large language models, they don't want to train off of a version of Google that is also a copy of a copy of a copy. And the answer there is actually very simple. Do not use it for speed. So it's a place to spar with ideas, collect data, have real human input. But if that system is just writing for you and you're just doing it to churn things out at scale, you're gonna lose. So you cannot use it as a time saver. And if you think about it, your competitors, they're going to use it as a time saver. It's just human nature. It's what people do. So if you actually go deeper and put more work and real thought into what you're producing, you are going to outperform all of that base floor that we're now going to see. So I'm crossing a few different layers here on how AI is impacting everything. But the big thing to focus on right now is real human experience, real human expertise, real human authority, and real trust. Google's acronym, EAT, E-E-A-T. So they push this really hard, and if you focus on this and you produce better content than everybody, and you bring that back to your site structure, and then you really serve your customers, that's kind of the core. And if you're not building from that foundation, you're not going to win the SGE panels. And if you're trying to win on list of links, good luck, because I would be surprised that if there even was a list of links in 5 years. It's most certainly going to be some version of an AI overview that incorporates paid advertising, likely some kind of voice assistant from Google, and then likewise we're going to see a few of the large language models like ChatGPT. Those are likely going to surface as an alternative search engine, but the catch is Google's the gatekeeper. These search engines, or rather these LLMs, they're still training off of Google. So you start with Google first, start with serving your customer first, and then give authentic, real, and original ideas from your experience based in your area of expertise to serve your customers. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you later.